All right, welcome back to our discussion on Doctrines 2 as we continue on in systematic theology and continue on our discussion of sin. There's a question that comes up quite a bit that deals with the degree of sin. Are there varying degrees of sin, or is all sin equal in the eyes of God? And ultimately, there are two answers to this question. The first answer is simply that all sin even very small sin separates us from God, and so in that sense, even the very small, quote unquote, smallest of sins is sin, and so because it's not holiness, it is therefore sin. It is a transgression. That's the word. Transgress means to pass over the line or to cross over the line. And in that case, all sin is the same in that we are legally guilty of that sin, even what we would consider very small sin. However, all sin is not created equal. Even though all of it is sin, all of it is equally sinful, in that it is not holy. The consequences of those sins are going to be greatly different. Jesus talks about you ignore the weightier matters of the law, recognizing that there were degrees of the law that which could be broken or not broken, certainly there are degrees of not just consequences, but degrees of how it affects our relationship with God, our relationship with one another. Certainly we can look to those lies that we tell can certainly have devastating consequences, no matter how big or small the lie is. However, and even when Jesus says, if you are angry with your brother, it's as equal as if you had killed him. But I would imagine that in the eyes of God, if you had actually killed him, you're probably going to be looking at worse consequences than if you just simply said, "You fool," especially consequences in this life. However, both, and this is what Jesus was trying to talk about in the Sermon on the Mount there, both of them are going to make you equally guilty before God. Both of them will cause you to face hell. However, we can look to the book of Revelation, for instance, when all are cast into the lake of fire. Just before that, at the great white throne, it says that the books will be opened and that all will be judged according to their sins, meaning that even in hell there will be degrees of consequences, degrees of punishment in hell based on the sinfulness of that person. So while let's say, for instance, Bill Gates, who is an ardent atheist, we know that, and yet he's a very good person. He does a lot of good things. He is bound for hell based on his what he has said about God, what he has said about Jesus Christ, and that he is not a believer. And yet he's not going to be in hell suffering the same kind of consequences, the same degree of agony as, say, Hitler, Mussolini, Stalin, and Pol Pot, and those who committed great atrocities. So again, there are two answers to this, in that even a very small sin will separate you from God, and will cause you to be legally guilty before God, and will cause you to go to hell. There is no doubt. However, not only in consequences in this life, but also consequences in the afterlife for all eternity, a person who is very sinful will be punished very severely, and one who is, by the grace of God, not as sinful will, though he will be in hell for not believing in Christ, will not suffer as much as one who created great atrocities. So we can understand that God is just when he punishes sin. There's not going to be anyone saying, hey, wait a minute, that person was a good person in life. How come you're punishing him the same as you are punishing someone who committed great atrocities? So again, so we understand these two answers. Yes, all sin is created equal in that it will separate you from God, and it's a transgression of the law in that you will be guilty before God. But not all sin is created equal as far as our results in life, as far as consequences, and our results in our relationship with God, and how it will be punished for all eternity.